Hey, good morning. Well, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines, and following our purchase a little while ago. Oh, I gotta let somebody say hello. Okay, you want to say hello? Hello. Okay, that's a squeaky hello. Okay. Well, anyway, following our purchase, we had a lot of difficulty getting this truck from the company that we actually bought from, and because of that we've been watching how the quality has lasted. Well, we've done a few things. One thing that I really didn't want to do, but I've ended up necessity, is one thing, isn't it? When you have something, you want to keep it pristine. Where we are, it's never going to stay pristine. So I just thought I'd show you what the truck looks like and some of the things that I found out about the truck, which of course should never have been left undone. And one of the things, just little things, how the chain comes off here. If it comes over, chain comes over and hangs over there, look, it's going to, well, it's just going to remove all of that paint. That's the company there, is Top Shift. Admittedly, Big Blue has been put through some punishment, that's for sure. As you can see, all of the top of the truck bed is quite beaten up. Have one little place there where we've banged up against the sides, and that needs to be straightened out. Right? Now the mud on the tires. I know that somebody will completely come in and say, why don't you wash the thing? Well, this is after just 2 trips up and down. 2 trips. There's our these are the hubs that we have to change over every time we get down to the road. We have to change them over, and when we're coming back up and want to get back into 4-wheel drive. Now what I did was, there's nothing worse than going in and putting your hands in onto, leave that, honey, you can leave that, you're going to leave that? Yeah. So what you're supposed to do is go in here, and that little thing there, look, you have to change it. Well, when that's just been through, this is already, that's all caked up mud. That's just from today. So I had this thing made up. I took a wrench from one of the cheap stores, took it into a welder, told him what I needed, and 100 pesos later, that's $2, he did what I wanted, and this is what I use it for. So when I get onto the road again, pull around and lock up the hubs. When I get down to the road, put this in, unlock it, and it just saves me getting my hands full of mud. As you can see, we got mud. So what does that mean? Well, when you got that much mud and it's that wet, and this isn't strictly speaking anything to do with the truck itself, but when you got that much mud, you cannot not take it into the truck, and that's what happens. Now, one of the things that we were not happy about that they did actually fix was this little fascia here that covers over the steering column. Now this is actually to allow you to move the steering, but because this fascia, this little cover, is so is so badly fitted, haven't been able to use that. So this is not my ideal position for the steering wheel, but that's it. That's the way that it is. That there is the transfer lever. It's over in the very low gear now, which really gives you a lot of traction, and then you can move it over. It goes over. That's into the second position, and then further over to the left will take it out altogether. So I'll pull it back. This, they very kindly, this was all crapped out when I went for the vehicle. Spoke to the young man that was doing his last minute jobs on this, and he pulled this one out from another vehicle. So let me see. So we've got, there's nothing that we can do. Yes, honey. There's nothing that we can do about the state of the truck. It gets used, it gets worn. Now, this has very quickly got worn, and we're having something recovered on this. But this was made up. Now, when we go and do my my Sunday driving job, the back gets a real beating, so we're actually having another cover made so that this will not end up being completely trashed. But the one thing that if anybody's thinking of coming over here and marrying a Filipina, if your Filipina is anything like mine, or like all of the Filipinos who are in my life, they don't know how to close a door. This is how you close a door. You just go, there, the door is closed. But what I find is that they go like this. Now it's not closed. They say your door isn't closed. So they open it and they do it again. And it's still not done. So then, with superhuman efforts, as if they are auditioning for the part of Superman, they slam the door. I'm not going to do it, okay? That's all it takes. But we live with those things. I'm sure that as they watch me blundering around doing what I do, they wonder how I ever managed to get to this ripe old age. Now, one of the things that you have to come to terms with, I don't know whether you can see it on camera here, but the sides of the truck are constantly rubbing up against something or other. You can see there that going down the tunnel, you lose steering. Actually, that's what happens. You lose steering. Now this, under here, this I consider to be, well, Bajoy is helping me out here, and he's pointing out a crack in the bumper. Well, we've done that. There, that's the crack in the bumper. Thank you, Bajoy. And that little place there, underneath. I thought he was going to show me underneath, but anyway, that's the steering, and it's also the tow hitch. You can see, I think you can see it there a little bit better. That's for towing. Now that's the first thing that hits, and then there's underneath, there's another crossbar, cross member, and that member actually bottoms out, and so does the bumper. So this is a problem in fitting the winch, which Brian, our friend who's staying, has very kindly donated to us. That's the bumper, and it's... Can you tap that? Can you hit on that, Bajoy? There we are. Bajoy's just demonstrated that it's made of plastic. So, because it's made of plastic, I can't just put a bumper on a tow hitch on there, which would really be very handy. So what we're going to have to do is work out how that cross member that's down in there can be brought through and up onto a little assembly. I don't want it to be too unsightly, but I have to go down and talk to my friend Nestor, and he'll weld up something. Has to be something that is strong enough. The welding job that has to be done and the little design for it has to be done so that it will not just rip the hitch off. So the winch, I should say. So the winch has to be very stably on there, but I've also been in and I've talked to my friend Nestor, and he assures me that the shock absorbers that are on the front will allow for another 1.5 inches, possibly 2 inches of height. So it can be hiked a little, another 2 inches. It's not a huge amount, but it would help. So that, plus what I find is that these mirrors, which are really wonderful for looking at, but if you look, they are actually about, they add about another 12-14 inches to the width of the truck. Now here's what I was saying about our challenges going up and down, is that the undergrowth, we brush up against it all the time, and this is what happens. So there's no getting away from that, which is very sad, because I would love to have seen it looking in even now I'd love to see it looking great, but it's a fact of life. But all of these things come every time that we take the truck out, so one of those things that we have to live with. Right, so that gives you an idea of the use of the truck and how well it's stood up. It does get beaten up every time it's taken out, that's for sure. We've had it loaded. Well, pretty overloaded. There's no such thing as overloaded in the Philippine language, but we have done it. So all the nice things in here we'll try to keep up and just do our best to keep the truck looking nice, but it's not easy, because this is just 2 trips and the truck looks like this. So there we are. As soon as you imagine you're going to get out, put your foot in that mud, then you get in and try to drive. It's not easy. Not complaining, it's just a fact of life. Okay, that's our little rundown follow-up on how the truck is doing. We're very pleased, but we need a road, so that really is what we're talking about. Now, one of the silly little things that could have been so easily handled is the tubes here this is for the windshield washers, and they're not attached, and maybe it's a faulty fitting there, but it doesn't go on easily, and among the million of other things that I would love to get down to doing, that's one of them. So right now, because of the pushing up of the front bumper, when we bottom out, when we're going down to the road, the bumper has actually been pushed up, and now we can't get in, so we're going to have the bumper pulled down again so that we can get in to lift this hood, which we need to be able to do to check oil and water. Well, not oil, but water. So that's it. So would you like to say anything, Bachoy? Anything that you like to say about? No. What would you like to say? Huh? Well, apparently, what are we looking at saying then? What? Do you like the truck? I think that's a yes. Okay, this is a foreigner in the Philippines. Bye for now.